Well, let's go now to Kyiv to speak to the former Ukrainian Prime Minister, Arsenій Yacenyuk, who is chairman of the Kyiv Security Forum. Welcome to the program.
Morning, James. Thanks for having me.
If you were sitting in President Zelensky's office, would you have accepted this deal?
Well, there was no other option on the table. The good thing is that we are back to square one in Ukraine-US relations. The bad thing is that we need another indispensable condition, which is whether Russia is willing to accept any kind of ceasefire. Frankly speaking, I have huge doubts, and I don't believe that Russia will take this kind of ceasefire deal without any kind of conditionality. War criminal Putin, he was very clear, saying that, look, he's not ready to accept any kind of temporary cease deal. He's ready to accept an entire capitulation of Ukraine, despite the fact that he dubs this as a peace deal. Once again, the thing is that what Secretary Rubio said is that the ball is in the Russian court. Let me remind you that the ball was always in the Russian court since the war started in 2014. As President Trump is playing golf, so let me use some kind of golf technique. So we expect that US-made 5-iron is to hit the ball, which is right now on the Russian golf course. So I do not overestimate these kind of talks, but I do believe that this is the right path to follow, and I commend the efforts of the UK government. You guys did a lot, and your Prime Minister Starmer, you did a lot behind the scenes to hammer out this deal between the US and Ukraine.
What is your understanding, before we get into the mechanics of how or not it could be accepted by Russia, but what is your understanding of what exactly it includes, and perhaps just as critically, what it doesn't include?
You mean what this deal include? Well, an amazing thing that Americans actually reversed its decision, and Ukraine's military support and intelligence sharing has been restarted. That's the most crucial, I would say, an outstanding issue for the Ukrainian military. On the other hand, look, Ukraine and Americans and the entire free world, we have a free hand, urging actually Russia to accept the ceasefire agreement and pressing on China. I am just wondering where China is to stand, and President Xi, whether they will accept this kind of ceasefire offer that has been graciously done by the US and Ukraine. And it goes with the global south too. So my guess is that, look, we got a new type of play. It's not really good to say that we are playing in something, so I don't share the take that President Trump has saying that you don't have cards. That's not the card game. This is the way how to win in this righteous fight and how to save Ukraine. But once again, we have a lot of trump cards right now. And the main trump card is that Ukraine is eager for peace. Ukraine is on the same page with the Americans. The EU and UK supports this kind of ceasefire deal. Now we want to figure out where China and Russia stands.
Yeah, and those are obviously big geostrategic questions. And I suppose one of the key things will be there will be a lot of public pressure on Vladimir Putin from the US and I suppose much of the rest of the world, which is desperate to see some sort of ceasefire. How much will that external pressure factor into Vladimir Putin's calculations, do you think?
Well, we have an experience, and the record shows that the only way to end this war is to press on Putin as tough as possible. And the most important and crucial issue, what kind of tools Americans and Europeans and the UK have over Russia. So there is no other option. Look, I want to be very clear. I don't trust that Putin is to accept any kind of ceasefire. There is no argument. I don't believe that Putin is ready to negotiate in any kind of good faith. So it means that we need to get a set of instruments and tools to pressure on Putin. Nothing new. There is no silver bullets except more aid to Ukraine, more ammo to Ukraine, to wrap up sanctions, and to isolate Putin as quick as possible. And actually to try to press on China. Because as a P5 member, I can hardly imagine how China is to refuse to this ceasefire deal. They were so vocal about the peace plan that was unfolded by China. It wasn't anything about peace for Ukraine. It was more about peace for Russia and China. But at least, once again, we have the chance and we have the tools and we have the message how to press on Putin and how to press on China. My take is that we're going to be back once again to another square one when Ukraine is to get substantial both financial and military support from the United States and the European Union in case if Putin disagrees with this ceasefire. My guess and my gut feeling is that he is ready for only one kind of deal. A complete capitulation of Ukraine and the entire West. We are ready for another deal. Fair and just peace. On terms and conditions that are acceptable for Ukraine and for the free world, but not for the war criminal Putin.
Then I suppose in all this, the view and the attitude and the actions of President Trump are going to be critical. Do you have enough faith that the man who dressed down President Zelensky so publicly in the White House, who temporarily at least took away military and intelligence support for Ukraine, will do the necessary steps to push Vladimir Putin towards a peace deal?
Here is the thing. I was very cautious, describing what's up in the Oval and in DC. And the reason is very clear. So it's so difficult to fight with Americans against the enemies, but it's more complicated to fight without Americans. I usually quote your Prime Minister Churchill. So it's a kind of zigzag. You know, who knows what's going to happen today or even tomorrow. But the thing is that Americans are back in the game. They are back on track for the time being. And I expect that if Trump realizes that Putin wants to humiliate him, and I want to underline once again, Putin wants to humiliate Trump, to outplay Trump, and to undermine both the US, the EU, and NATO, together with Chinese. That's the joint plan of Russia, North Korea, and China. So as Trump is to realize this, there is no other option for President Trump rather than to be assertive and to support Ukraine and actually to press on Putin as much as he can.
Arsenій Yacenuk, former Prime Minister of Ukraine, speaking to us live there from Kyiv, where he's the chairman of the Kyiv Security Forum.